welcome to our English news edition broadcast to you by Canal Algérie. To the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, receives the presidents and representatives of the Malian political movements. The call for the Sahel meetings kicks off in Algiers with a view to working out a common vision in fighting terrorism and violent extremism. The Army General Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, Seychin Gareha, receives the British Minister of State for the Armed Forces, James Stephen Heppy, now on a visit to Algeria. And good news for the civil service employees, the salary increase to be implemented starting from next month, according to the Labour Minister. Good evening and welcome back. First up in our news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received on Sunday the presidents and representatives of the Malian political movements. The audience took place at the Presidency of the Republic in the presence of the Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad, Ramtala Mamra, and the Principal Private Secretary of the Presidency, Abdelaziz Khalaf. Following the audience, the spokesman of the Malian delegation had this to say to our reporter.
As the spokesman of the delegation, I thank on behalf of all the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, for this warm welcome. We would also like to hail Algeria's role in establishing peace and reconciliation process, as well as its efforts to preserve security and stability in Mali in general and in the north provinces, particularly known as Azawad. Algeria deserves all the respect for its efforts because during the last decades, Algeria was always present to help us settle all problems between the north and south of Mali. Efforts that led each time to the signing of an accord. We thank it for all this. Following this meeting, we understood that today Algeria is even stronger because it's going through a new dynamic, notably with the comeback of peace and security in the region. We thank Algeria once again for all that it has done and continues to do for the population of northern Mali.
The whole Sahel region, a commitment once again emphasized by the President of the Republic in his latest moves via granting $1 billion to back investment projects in the African continent. More insights with Najah Tayar.
Motivated by a high sense of responsibility and awareness, Algeria attaches a huge importance to the regional cooperation for development and peace settlement. On this basis, Algeria reaffirms its strong relationship and support to Mali, especially the development of northern Mali. Algeria is highly estimated by African countries, as announced by the President of the Republic, once evoking the commitments that Algeria has made for the economic development of northern Mali, where he mentioned Algeria's support for building schools, water towers, solar panels and many other projects in the northern region of this friendly country. Algeria will also give a financial support estimated at $1 billion destined for development projects in several African countries. This initiative reconfirms that the economic integration, the social harmony and the regional security will be ensured only via solidarity within the African countries.
In a different topic, Algeria hosts the proceedings of the second call for the Sahel meeting, a series of meetings adopted by the International Parliament during its first international summit on the fight against terrorism. The proceedings of this meeting will continue today at the International Conferences Center in Algiers with debates and discussions around 5 workshops, an event that should be crowned with recommendations to be submitted to the World Summit due to be held at the end of these meetings. In a new development and pursuant to the guidelines of the President of the Republic, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad decided to reopen the Algiers Embassy in Kiev, Ukraine. This decision, which will be implemented as soon as possible, comes in light of preserving the interests of the Algerian state and that of its nationals established in this country. It should be worth recalling that the activities of the Algerian Embassy in Kiev were freezed due to to the deterioration of security conditions in Ukraine. The embassy will be run by a chargé d'affaires. In other news, the Army General Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, Said Shingriha, received at the headquarters of the National People's Army the British Minister of State for Armed Forces, James Heappey, now on a visit to Algeria, the head of an important delegation. Story by Melissa Kubash.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you very much.
The meeting took place in the presence of General Secretary of the National Defense Ministry, commanders of forces, the heads of departments and central directors of the General Staff of the National People's Army and the National Defense Ministry, alongside members of the British delegation. The two sides discussed the status of the military cooperation between the two armies, as well as ways and means to further strengthening it. They also reviewed the security challenges facing the world and the African continent and exchanged views on issues of common interest. On this occasion, the Army General delivered a keynote speech in which he welcomed the British officials and their delegation, underlining that this visit to Algeria is an extension of the previous one, carried by Air Marshal Martin Elliott Sampson, Senior Defense Advisor for the MENA region, which allowed both parties to discuss issues of common interest.
إن زيارتكم هذه تأتي بعد أيام قليلة من زيارة مارشال مارتن إليوت سامسون المستشار الأعلى للدفاع لمنطقة الشرق الأوسط وشمال إفريقيا.
He added that these meetings are opportunities to promote strategic dialogue between Algeria and Great Britain when it comes to the aspirations of our institutions.
بالحوار الاستراتيجي بين الجزائر وبريطانيا العظمى إلى مصاف تطلعات مؤسساتين.
Army General also indicated the firm will of the High Command of the National People's Army to make the necessary efforts for the establishment of a dynamic cooperation that will be beneficial for the two armies.
في هذا الصدد أؤكد لكم أن القيادة العليا للجيش الوطني الشعبي تبدي استعدادها التام وإرادتها الثابتة لبذل الجهود اللازمة من أجل تجسيد ديناميكية تعاون تعود بالفائدة على المؤسستين.
He highlighted the quality of relations maintained by the two countries and the will of the high authorities of the two countries to further promote them, particularly in terms of exchange of experiences in the field of the fight against terrorism and training.
ما يخص التعاون العسكري الثنائي أود التنويه بنوعية العلاقات التي تحرص السلطات العليا لبلدينا على ترقيتها أكثر فأكثر، لا سيما من خلال التركيز على المجالات ذات الاهتمام المشترك.
And with the aim of diversifying the activities of our bilateral cooperation, the Army General emphasized that they can initiate the necessary consultations to identify the opportunities in various fields.
تحديد الفرص المتاحة والمجالات المواتية من أجل تجسيدها.
For his part, the British official emphasized his country's readiness to further promote bilateral military cooperation between the two countries in various fields. At the end of the meeting, the two parties exchanged symbolic gifts before the British Minister of State for the Armed Forces, James Stephen Heappey, signed the Golden Register of the General Staff of the National People's Army.
In another topic, and in implementation of the President of the Republic's instructions, no less than 8 million people will benefit from wage increases, including retirees and unemployment youth, and a number announced by the Labour Minister Yusuf Sharfa. Najah Tayyar tells us more.
Nearly 3 million employees, 3 million retirees and about 2 million unemployed young people are concerned by the salary increase recently decided by the President of the Republic, a hike that will be implemented before the month of Ramadan. The President of the Republic's decision concerns nearly 8 million. It concerns around 2,800,000 civil service employees, 90% of whom are permanent and 10% are contractuals. With regard to retirement allowances, this increase will concern nearly 2,985,000. An unemployment benefit increase concerns about 2 million unemployed people. Worth to be mentioned that the employment grant included in the increase was paid in January. As for the hikes affecting retirement allowance will be paid starting from the beginning of next March. You should know that all the increases decided will be paid before the beginning of the month of Ramadan. Nearly 600 billion dinars were assigned to this operation, highly appreciated by the citizens who voiced their satisfaction with the improvement in their purchasing power. The President of the Republic has made numerous decisions in the benefit of the youth, economy and development in general. In addition to this, more than 4,400 contractuals in the national education sector will be integrated in a permanent way this year. Regarding the integration into public service, it should be remembered that nearly 600,000 civil service employees have been integrated into permanent positions in early 2023, and the rest will be integrated by the end of this year. Also worth to be mentioned that the administrators are 326,150 beneficiaries, and the rest contractuals will be permanent as specialized teachers. Through numerous new measures, such as the salary increase, the Algerian government has deployed many efforts for one goal, namely the improvement of the purchasing power of the citizens.
And the Ordinary General Assembly of the Youth Higher Council kicked off on Sunday at the International Conferences Center in Algiers in quest of electing the members of the provincial bureaus. The session was held in the presence of government members and active youth. This was also an occasion for the President of the Council, Mustafa Al-Hidawi, to call on the youth to make their voices heard in the edification process of the country. To Palestine now, where 2 young Palestinians were injured by Zionist bullets near Ramallah, while 16 others were arrested in Gaza and Al Khalil. The aggressions of the Zionist occupation have violently increased, strengthened by incursions and the attacks of settlers against Palestinian people and their lands. USM Algiers, our sole representative in the CAF Cup competition, took the lead of Group A following its 2-0 victory to the South African side of Moramo Gallon in the game held at the 5th of July Olympic Stadium here in Algiers. We wish them good luck in the upcoming matches. And we wrap up our news with this beautiful footage of snow in Tiaret province following in an abundant way and arguing a good season and a better harvest. Do enjoy these flakes of snow. However, be cautious for your safety. Goodbye and take care.